So you're stuck at $1 million a year. Here's why. You're slammed with work, but profit, freedom, still feels out of reach. Hey, Ryan here from Media Ace Marketing. The phone's blowing up, the truck's full, but you're still wondering if this is as good as it gets? You've built something real, but now it owns you. Does that sound familiar? You're the one still checking the grade, ordering the stone, smoothing out the customer's calls, and wondering why the money isn't matching the madness. If you're starting to wonder whether you're the problem, you're a builder, not a manager, and that shift feels impossible. If this sounds like where you're at or where you're headed, go ahead and subscribe. I make videos just like this for builders like you to help you grow your business without losing your life in the process. All because you can hustle your way to $750,000 a year doesn't mean that same hustle will get you past that ceiling. Right around $900,000 a year, everything breaks. More jobs, less control, no time, and that's the trap most contractors fall into. You're booked out but can't show up for your kid's game. That's the real ceiling. You feel like you're winning and losing at the same time. Here's the thing. You know how to build patios, but this part, no one shows you how to build a company. You're stuck because you still are trying to wear every hat, but the hats are getting heavier. Under $750,000 a year, hustle works. Over $1 million, and hustle hurts. You've outgrown your business model, but your systems haven't caught up yet. It's not about working harder, it's about building something that works without you. If everything depends on you, is it really a business? You can keep growing the business and come home in time for dinner, but it takes 5 critical shifts. The first shift, from operator to owner. Right now, you're probably still the one doing estimates, checking job sites, handling customer complaints, maybe even jumping in with tools when crews fall behind. But here's the problem. You're the bottleneck, and that's not your fault. It's your blueprint. Right now, your business is like a wheelbarrow full of bricks, and you're the one pushing it uphill. The more jobs you add, the heavier it gets, unless you build a path and a team that can move it with you. Everything flows through you, every decision, every problem, every opportunity. But at this level, that becomes impossible to sustain. You're still jumping in the truck at 6 a.m. and wondering why you're not further ahead. If you take 2 weeks off, does everything fall apart? If the answer is yes, you're still an operator and not an owner. The shift is this. Your job isn't to do the work anymore. Your job is to make sure the work gets done right by the right people. That means you need systems, processes, and people who can handle things when you're not there. Because if you can't step away, you don't really own a business. You own a very expensive job. All because you can handle everything yourself, it doesn't mean you should keep trying. The second shift, from crew-based growth to team-led growth. At $500,000, you could manage everything with a good crew. At $1 million or more a year, you need leaders, not just laborers. You're not just building patios anymore, you're building people. Your foremen need to think like you. Your estimator needs to represent your values. And your office manager needs to solve problems, not just create them. Here's what most contractors miss. Your team doesn't just need to know how to do the work, they need to know why you do it the way you do. And they need to understand your standards, your processes, your commitment to quality. This means that you stop being the guy who knows everything and starts being the guy who teaches everything. Your foreman should be able to handle a difficult customer conversation. Your estimator should be closing jobs, not just pricing them. And your admin should be solving scheduling conflicts before they even become emergencies. What your team needs from you isn't micromanagement, it's clarity. Clear expectations, clear processes, clear authority to make decisions within these boundaries. When you shift to a team-led growth, you're not losing control, you're multiplying your impact. Because now your standards and your approach can be in 5 places at once instead of just 1. The third shift is from lead generation to reputation system. Most $1 million or more contractors don't need more leads. They need a better business model. At 750 or less, you might still be chasing leads, buying ads, hoping for calls. But $1 million or more, your marketing can't be an afterthought. It needs to be a system. Here's why referrals stall when you hit this level. It's because your customers used to be dealing directly with you. Now they're dealing with your crew, your estimator, your project manager. Those people aren't representing your brand the same way you do. Referrals are going to start to dry up. You need a reputation system, something that builds trust even when you're not the one shaking hands. It's not just about getting found, it's about getting chosen consistently by the right customers for the right reasons. This means every touch point needs to reinforce your values. From the first phone call to the final cleanup, every interaction should make customers think, this is why we chose them. This shift is from hunting for customers to having customers hunt for you. Because when you're doing 1 million or more, you can't afford to waste time on tire kickers and price shoppers. The fourth shift is from scheduling jobs to managing capacity. This is where most contractors break. They think that more jobs equals more profit. At this level, taking the wrong job, the right one. If quoting more jobs and working longer hours and you're still not hitting profit goals, sounds familiar, you're not alone. The invisible cost of overbooking, slow quoting, and unclear delegation, these things add up fast when you're operating at scale. At $1 million or more, your time becomes the most expensive material on site. Every hour you spend on something somebody else could handle, is money leaving in your pocket. Think about this. If you're worth $200 an hour to your business, but you're spending 10 hours a week doing a $25 an hour task, that's over $1,700 per week in lost productivity. Over $90,000 per year. This shift is about understanding the difference between busy and being productive, between filling your calendar and optimizing your capacity. Managing capacity means you're not just reacting to opportunities, you're creating them. You're controlling your schedule instead of your schedule controlling you. The fifth shift is from surviving to thinking beyond just surviving the week and building something that can last without burning you out. Most contractors are building a job for themselves. The successful ones are building a company for the future. Imagine running your $1.5 million business and taking 2 weeks off without everything catching on fire. That's thinking beyond survival. This kind of thinking means asking different questions. Instead of, how do I get this done? You ask, how do we build a system so that this gets done the right way every time? Instead of, how do I handle this customer complaint? You ask, how do we prevent this type of complaint from happening again? Instead of, how do I find good people? You ask, how do we build a culture that attracts and keeps good people? The contractors who break through 1.5 million or more aren't just better at landscaping, they're better at thinking like business owners. They see patterns instead of just problems. And they build systems instead of just solutions. You're either building something that depends on you or something that works because of the foundation that you've built. The choice determines whether you hit a ceiling or break through it. Let me give you a real example. I worked with a contractor who was grinding nonstop and getting nowhere for 3 years, just under $1 million. He was doing great work, loyal with his customers. Every growth spurt was followed by chaos. The problem wasn't his skills, it was his approach. He was still estimating every job, checking every site, handling every customer issue. He had become the most expensive project manager in his company. We focused on 3 things. First, he hired and trained an estimator who could close jobs, not just price them. Second, he created systems so his foremen could handle 90% of the customer questions. And third, he built a marketing system that brought in pre-qualified leads instead of tire kickers. Within 18 months, he hit 1.4. But more importantly, he was working fewer hours and taking real vacations, building something that could eventually run without him. The shift wasn't about working harder, it was about working smarter, building systems instead of just building patios. So let's recap these 5 shifts. From operator to owner, from crew-based to team-led growth, from lead generation to reputation system, from scheduling jobs to managing capacity, and from surviving to thinking beyond survival. Here's my challenge. What shift are you resisting the most right now? Because the one you're avoiding is probably the one that's keeping you stuck. Most contractors resist delegation because they think that no one can do it as well as they can. But here's the truth. They don't need to do it as well as you. They need to do it well enough so you can focus on the things that only you can do. Drop a comment and let me know which of these shifts feels the scariest. Which one feels the most necessary? If you're ready to move from in the dirt to in control, if you're tired of being the bottleneck in your own business, let's talk about making these shifts real. Give me a call at 517-955-2154 or visit MediaAceMarketing.com and we'll look at exactly which shift you need to make first and how to make it without losing everything you built. Because the contractors who break through this ceiling, they don't just make more money, they get their life back. They build something that works for them instead of against them. Your business should serve your life, not consume it. And that starts with making the shift from doing everything to building everything. All because you can handle it all yourself, it doesn't mean you should keep trying. There is a better way, and it starts with thinking like an owner, not just an operator.